Welcome back to another lesson on trigonometric identities. In this lesson, we will derive and apply the Pythagorean identities. Let's get started. Let's think back to the unit circle. What do we know about the unit circle? First, we know that the radius of this circle is 1, meaning that the distance from the origin to any point on the circle is 1. We also know this intersection between the side of an angle theta and the unit circle has an x-coordinate of cosine theta and a y-coordinate of sine theta. Seeing a circle on a coordinate plane makes me think of writing the equation of this circle. This is a circle centered at the origin with a radius of 1, which means the equation of this circle is x squared plus y squared equals 1. We just noted that the x and y coordinates of any point on this circle can be represented by the cosine and sine of an angle theta. Replacing the x in the equation with cosine of theta and replacing the y with sine of theta leads us to an interesting identity. Cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equals 1. This is called the Pythagorean identity and is typically seen written as sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. Why is it called the Pythagorean identity? If you remember back to conic sections, we actually derived the equation of a circle from the Pythagorean theorem. We can visualize these relationships using right triangles, where the length of the leg adjacent to a specific angle is equal to the cosine of that angle. The length of the leg opposite that same angle is equal to the sine of that angle, and the hypotenuse is 1. And in any right triangle, the Pythagorean theorem tells us that the sum of the squares of the two legs equals the square of the hypotenuse. Using these lengths in the Pythagorean theorem results in sine of theta squared plus cosine of theta squared equals 1 squared. And there we have it, the Pythagorean identity. Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. Let's get this identity written on your reference sheet. Pause and do that now. Let's try out this new identity with a few example problems. First, we want to find tangent of A if we know that cosine of A is 5 over 13 and that sine of A is greater than 0. Which identities will help us here? Well, our end goal is to find the tangent of A, so the quotient identity will be helpful. And if we want to determine what tangent of A is, we'll need to know both the cosine and the sine of A. We already have the cosine of A, and the Pythagorean identity will help us find the sine of A. Sounds like a plan. Starting with the Pythagorean identity, we can substitute in the value of cosine of A. Take a moment and solve for the sine of A. We'll want to square 5 over 13, then subtract 25 over 169 on each side to isolate the sine squared of A. Then, we can take the square root of each side, which results in plus or minus 12 over 13. It looks like we have two options for the sine of A. So which one is correct? If we didn't have the given information that sine of A is greater than 0, then we wouldn't be able to determine a definite answer. Since sine of A is greater than 0, sine of A is positive 12 over 13. Now that we know sine of A is 12 over 13, we can use the given information about the cosine of A to find the tangent of A. After substituting in the values of sine and cosine of A and simplifying, we can find that tangent of A is equal to 12 over 5. In this next example, we want to verify the identity sine theta plus cotangent theta times cosine theta equals cosecant theta. Recall our helpful tips for verifying identities and make sure your reference sheet is handy. Pause now and try it out. Starting on the left side, we can first rewrite cotangent theta as cosine theta over sine theta. Then we can simplify a bit and get sine theta plus cosine squared theta over sine theta. In order to add here, we will need a common denominator, which in this case is sine theta. This leads us to the sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta over sine theta. Now we can use the Pythagorean identity. Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. This leaves us with 1 over sine theta, which by using a reciprocal identity can be written as cosecant theta. Now we've verified the identity. Now that we've seen the Pythagorean identity in action, let's take a look at some helpful variations of this identity. Starting with the original Pythagorean identity, we can divide both sides by cosine squared theta. Now let's simplify each term. We can think of sine squared theta over cosine squared theta as sine theta over cosine theta squared. Using the quotient identity, we can rewrite sine theta over cosine theta as tangent theta. It follows that we can write sine squared theta over cosine squared theta as tangent squared theta. Anything divided by itself is equal to 1, so we can simplify cosine squared theta over cosine squared theta to 1. Finally, we can think of 1 over cosine squared theta as 1 over cosine theta squared. Using a reciprocal identity, we can rewrite this term as secant squared theta. Now we have another version of the Pythagorean identity that involves tangent and secant. Let's discover one more variation on the Pythagorean identity. Again, we'll start with the original sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. Then, similar to the last identity, we will divide everything by the same expression, this time sine squared theta. Take a moment and simplify each term like we did with the last identity. What did you come up with? First, sine squared theta over sine squared theta equals 1. Then, using a quotient identity, we can write cosine squared theta over sine squared theta as cotangent squared theta. And finally, using a reciprocal identity, we can rewrite 1 over sine squared theta as cosecant squared theta. This leaves us with our other variation of the Pythagorean identity, 1 plus cotangent squared theta equals cosecant squared theta. Be sure to add these two versions of the Pythagorean identity to your reference sheet. Let's try these out in a couple more examples. For this problem, we want to find the cotangent of negative b given that secant of b is equal to 2 and the sine of b is less than 0. Let's take a look at your reference sheet to see which identities might help us solve this problem. We are given a value for secant and just learned about the version of the Pythagorean theorem that involves secant and tangent. We also know that we can use a reciprocal identity to find cotangent using tangent. And since we want to find the cotangent of negative b, we will want to use an even-odd identity as well. Sounds like we have a plan. Pause now and try it out. Let's see how you did. Starting with the Pythagorean identity, we can substitute the value of secant, which is 2. After simplifying, subtracting 1 on both sides, and taking the square root of both sides, we see that tangent of b is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. Next, we can use the reciprocal identity to find the cotangent of b. But first, we'll need to figure out if the tangent of b is positive or negative square root of 3. What do you think? Do we have any information that might help us? We know that secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and the secant of b is positive. So what does that mean for cosine? Is it positive or negative? It's positive. And if tangent is the ratio of sine over cosine, cosine is positive, and sine is less than 0 or negative, then is tangent positive or negative? It's negative. Now that we know that tangent of b is negative square root of 3, we can use the reciprocal identity to find that cotangent of b is equal to negative square root of 3 over 3. And finally, we can use an even-odd identity to determine that the cotangent of negative b is the square root of 3 over 3. Great job! In our last example, we want to verify the identity secant squared x equals sine x times cosecant x plus tangent x times secant x times sine x. Make sure your reference sheet is handy and try it out yourself. Starting on the right side, we can use reciprocal and quotient identities to rewrite it in just terms of sine and cosine. Then we can simplify, which results in 1 plus sine squared x over cosine squared x. We can rewrite sine squared x over cosine squared x as tangent squared x, which looks like one of our Pythagorean identities. Finally, we can rewrite 1 plus tangent squared x as secant squared x, confirming the identity. Great work! Let's take a look at our key takeaways for today. Today we covered the Pythagorean identities, which you should have recorded on your reference sheet, and we used them to solve problems and verify identities. Be sure to keep your reference sheet handy as you complete the lesson activities and online practice, and as we continue learning more identities and applying them throughout this unit. See you next time!
Hey, hey.